the tips are just for you. Guitar tips. Hello and welcome to another episode of Guitar Tips. My name is Adam Levy, and this here is my video blog series on YouTube. I'm in the midst of doing this ABCs of Guitar Tips mini-series. If you want to know more about it, check out the other videos in this playlist. That playlist is called the ABCs of Guitar Tips. This week, this episode, we are on the letter L, and L is for landing. Have you ever been on an airplane where towards the end of the flight things get a little bit rocky or shaky and you start to get a little nervous and maybe get a little clammy and holding on to things, and then amazingly somehow the pilot just totally gets it together and sticks it for a really smooth finish at the very end. That landing just feels so good, and everyone in the plane spontaneously applauds for the pilot doing such a great job. Have you ever had that happen? I've had that happen. It's a good feeling because we're all in it together, and of course it's always a good feeling to be safe and on the ground and in one piece. But when we improvise on the guitar, it's a lot of times landing is the last thing we think about. You learn to when you're soloing, you learn early on, okay, this scale would be a good choice of a scale to play over this particular chord. And once you can do that, you feel like you can fly. You could just, get it up in the air, and but coming down and landing is hard. That's why people don't spontaneously applaud in the middle of the flight or at the beginning of the flight when you're just sitting on the ground waiting to take off. It's really the ending, the landing, that makes all the difference. So that's what I want to talk about in this episode, in this video. As in, whenever we talk about music, there's, broadly speaking, three big considerations, three big areas. There's rhythm, there's harmony, and there's melody. Of course, there's other elements to music as well, but those are kind of the big ones. And so I want to talk about landing from all three of those perspectives. Let's talk about rhythm first. Let's play a 4-bar phrase of music and say that on the first beat of the fourth measure, so 1 2 3 4 2 2 3 4 3 2 3 4 1. That would be bar 4. I'm going to just stop there and just play a short note on that beat. So I don't have a looper pedal here. That would be a good tool to show you what I'm talking about. But then again, you may not have a looper pedal. I don't want you to feel like you can't do this exercise just if you don't happen to have one. So I'm just going to do it without one. Oh, right, my Memory Man chorus thing is still on. I kind of like it. Hopefully you like it too. So I'm going to play in A, and I'm going to play 3 bars of kind of whatever in A, and then really land on the first beat of the fourth measure. It might seem easy, but it may not be as easy as you would think. So 1 2 3 4. So were you counting along? If not, do it again and count along. 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3. Boom. All right, just like that. Now you try it. I'll count, and if you have your guitar handy, improvise in A major and stop on the first beat. Stop short on the first beat of bar 4. So 1. Here we go. Well, I'll count for 1 bar, and then we're in. 1 2 3 4. 1 2 3 4. 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4. Stop. Okay, was it easy? For some people that comes easy, and for other people it's surprisingly difficult. Let's now do it on the and of beat 2 in that fourth bar. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 2, and. Okay, so that's going to sound like this. And I'll stay in the key of A. So here I go. I'll count a bar and then I'm in. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 3, 1, 2, and. So I stopped on the and of 2. Now you try it. One bar of counting and then you're in. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 2, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. 4, 2, and. Okay? Now let's do a slight variation on that, which is same landing, but instead of a short note on the landing, let's leave it long. So whatever note we end on, we'll just sustain it out. So that would be like this. I'm going to go to A minor now, just to give our ears something slightly fresher here. So it's going to be a 4-bar phrase stopping long on the and of 2 in measure 4, or bar 4. So 1, 2, here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 4, 3, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, and I'll do it again. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 3, 2, 3, 4. All right. Now you try it. 1 bar count in, and then you're in. 1, 2, here we go. 1, 3, 4, 2, 2, 3, 2, 3, 4, 4, 2, and. Right? Okay. So if that's easy for you, then one thing you might want to do is come up with other places to land that might be more challenging, things that are a little bit out of your comfort zone. If those phrases are easy for you, some people find that some phrases come easier to them than others. So you can do 4-bar phrases, you could do 3-bar phrases, 5-bar phrases, whatever you want to do, and work on that. And so that's the rhythmic aspect of landing. We weren't too concerned with what note we stopped on. As long as we got on the right beat, then that was a success. So that's a rhythmic aspect of landing. Now let's talk about the harmonic aspect of landing, which is to say we're going to try to land on a particular chord tone, something that really helps us hear what the chord is. So let's land on the third. And I'm going to change it up a little bit here. So I'm going to play a blues in G, and I'm going to play 4 bars on the G7, and then in bar 5 I'm going to go to C9. And when I get there, on that downbeat, so on the downbeat of bar 5, downbeat just means the first beat. Beat 1 is the downbeat. Maybe that's not something everyone knows, so I'm telling you. When I say downbeat, when you hear musicians talk about on the downbeat, that just means the first beat, beat 1. So blues in G, and when I get to bar 5, I'm going to play the third of C9. I'm going to get to this note, and that's going to really help your ear know that we've gone to this chord, because up until that point on a G7, you could play that note. It's not a bad note, but it doesn't really help you hear that this is G7. So I'm going to stay away from that note on the G7. And when we get to the C9, I'm going to land right on it. So that's a kind of harmonic landing. So see if you can follow along. So 1, 2, 3, 4. This is bar 3. So I landed on that note. Didn't really get there very gracefully, but I got there, and sometimes just getting there is cool. So now I'm gonna try to get there a little more, like lead your ear towards that note. So I have to think ahead to make that happen. So let's see if I can do that. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's bar 3. So I got there just going scale wise there. I could have gone chromatically, or I could have gone above it and then below it and led up there chromatically. So let me try that. I'm going to see if I can do that. 2, 3, 4. So you can hear that. So that's a kind of harmonic landing. Any kind of music that has changing chords in it, whether it's blues or jazz or country, or lots of rock music has changing chords. Just about any kind of music you could play has changing chords, and to address the chord, you want to land on a chord tone. So a good note to shoot for would be the 3rd or the 5th. I might stay away from the root just because it's kind of obvious, and the bass player is going to go to the root, and other people in the band might go there too. So landing on the root is not a bad sound, but it's kind of a little bit basic sounding. So if you land, if I land on the root of the C, I've been landing on the 3rd. It doesn't tell us that much about the quality of the chord. I might land on the 3rd, I might want to land on the 7, and if I'm feeling adventurous, I might even want to land on the 9, or the 13 of C. Any of those upper, those kind of upper extensions can be cool places to land as well. You don't always have to land on a fundamental chord tone, but it's a good idea early on in your solo anyway to hit those fundamental chord tones and just let people know that you know where you are before you start to venture off into more colorful sounds. And it can also help build excitement in your solo. If you start right off with those, then you don't have as many colorful places to go because you've already kind of gone there. So it's nice to hold back from those 9ths and 13ths and stuff like that until later on in your solo, depending on how long a solo you're going to take. Now, the melodic aspect of landing is the hardest thing to explain, at least for me, because melody is more personal. When we talk about a rhythmic landing, if I just say measure 4, beat 1, we all know where that is, right? That's just a place in music that we can pinpoint. Or if I talk about landing on the 3rd of a chord or the 5th of a chord, that means the same thing. It should mean the same thing to anybody who understands music. But when we talk about melody, to some people Mozart is melody, to other people Radiohead is melody. George Jones maybe sounds like melody to you, or maybe none of those people, and some other kinds of music sounds really melodic to you. So I don't have a really great way to explain it or to talk about it other than to in your mind prioritize melody as a kind of place to land, just as an idea. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm going to just try and do it. If I do a little bit of sequencing where I actually take an idea that I've been working on and continue that idea and get to the new chord by extending that idea, developing the theme, maybe that's a better way to explain this. So let me try that. 1, 2, 3, Still blues in F. So that was on the 4 chord there. Did you see what I did? I started out with this basic theme. And then, I brought that theme into the new sound on the 4 chord. I used, 2 notes at a time instead of 1. But really the idea is that I've brought this theme that you've already heard and used it as a landing place. So let me see if I can get a little more mileage out of that. So, let's see. Okay, when I got there, it seemed like less of a surprise. It almost, hopefully, seemed inevitable because of what you'd heard before that. So maybe that's the best way to express a melodic landing, that it's bringing a theme forward into the new harmony. So think about those things: harmony, melody, and rhythm. Think about how you can work on landing so that perhaps you will get, a couple hundred strangers to applaud spontaneously when you come in for a smooth landing. If you're digging this mini-series within the series, please subscribe to this channel here on YouTube so that you won't miss another episode. And if you want to learn more stuff, I also have a channel on Patreon. It's called Guitar Tips Pro. It's got stuff like this where I talk about guitar playing and music. It's got a lot of extra stuff. There's some Spotify playlists that I create that are ways to illustrate, things I'm talking about from week to week, or things I'm just excited about that I want you to hear. Through Patreon, you have an opportunity to take lessons with me over Skype. There's guest tips. A lot of times I'll include PDFs or MP3s of the examples that I'm talking about. Links to other stuff that I think you'll find interesting. So anyway, that's what's going on over at Guitar Tips Pro. I hope you'll check it out. There'll be a link in the description down below here. I'll be back next week talking about something that begins with the letter M. Until then, here in Los Angeles at Guitar Tips headquarters and Guitar Tips Pro headquarters, I'm Adam Levy. Stay tuned and take good care.